Anime cyberpunk style meets skirmish combat in Infinity. Experience 8 high-tech factions and fight to control the human sphere at the Infinity Hub on beastsofwar.com. In a world controlled by massive corporations, a steady aim and split-second decisions are needed for your Megacon to complete its goals. Begin your missions at the Mercs Hub on beastsofwar.com.
Hi guys, welcome to Team Yankee Command School. I'm here with Phil, and today you're wanting to have a talk about the Hind. So the Russian air power is what we're looking at in this one. And as you can see on the table, there are more than a few of these big, nasty flying tanks on the tabletop. So what are these things for, really?
Well, they're flying tanks, as you said, and they've got pretty heavy anti-tank missiles, blow things up. Of course, they've also got the little cannon in the front and rocket pods and things for dealing with miscellaneous things.
Well, oh look, there's some infantry over there, and I have 4 Hinds. Good morning, gentlemen! Have you heard about our Lord and Savior? Bert?
That's the one.
Right, so they're good for taking out tanks, they're good for taking out infantry. What exactly are we looking at in this one? Because I'm seeing 4. Now, normally, whenever I'm looking at taking Hinds, I'm going to take, just a couple of them just to give myself a little bit of air power. I'm never really going to go too heavy on them. Or is it a valid tactic to go really heavy on them?
Well, the Russians say quantity has a quality all of its own.
Yes, that old chestnut. So, with 4 of them, I'll assume they're a lot more effective, I'm guessing.
Well, you're going to get hit. Yeah, you're going to get hit easy because you're hit on 3+. Sure, you're tough with a 4+ save, but just like the tanks, if you've got too few, then you easily end up with, down to the point where you're checking morale and so forth. Okay,
now that's actually something we haven't looked at yet. How does that work for helicopters? Because you can't bail out a helicopter. Well, you can, but then the helicopter's dead and it crashes. But what is it that actually causes it? I assume, is it if it just hits to that under 2 effective units within the unit?
So you're down to 1 and you're testing.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
So here means you lose 1, you're in trouble.
Be easy to forget. Just because you don't have the marker on it to say it. But oh well. Okay. So what are you wanting to show me happening with these on the tabletop?
Okay, we're looking at some tactics with them. What you should and shouldn't do with them. Now, the first thing to note is that unlike Western helicopters, they're never going to get concealment. So don't worry about that side of things. They're also shorter ranged, not because their weapons are shorter ranged, but because they're essentially operating as aircraft. And in fact, a lot of this is going to apply to the Frogfoot and so forth as well.
Okay.
The Soviets don't hover and do sneaky things. They just do strafing runs, even with their helicopters.
Right, so this is about as subtle as a brick in mid-flight, yeah?
A brick in mid-flight, yes.
Well, it's about as subtle as a brick in mid-flight. So it's a little bit of a metaphor I use the odd time, because if a brick's in mid-air, you know what's going to happen. It's going to land and it's going to cause a lot of damage.
Substitute Hind for brick and the same thing applies.
All right, so we have a Hind brick on the table, yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
So the other thing, though, is that the other side gets concealment if they are behind and within 10 centimeters, that's 4 inches of terrain.
Looking at the table here, I have 1 leopard here, it's behind a wall. Will I get cover from that?
Nope, it's not tall terrain.
Not tall terrain, okay. I have a Gepard down the back here, which is pretty nicely in behind this building.
Yep, if the Hinds were coming in from this angle, it would be. But I brought my Hinds in from here. They've got unlimited movement. Okay,
so they're coming from here, and yeah, I kind of see what you mean. They would have an angle to have a really clear shot there.
Yep.
Okay.
So step 1, use your movement. Now, step 2 is look at what's going to shoot at you, because the first thing that's going to happen when you open fire is the enemy's going to shoot back first. So you're going to get the Gepards shooting. You're going to get the AA machine guns on the tanks shooting. And they're going to be happy to do that because it doesn't affect their main gun fire next turn. So everything that can is going to take pot shots at you.
All right, well, my Leopards for their AA guns, it's a 16-inch range. So if we quickly check which of my Leopards would be in range here. So under the camera, yeah, everybody is going to be able to reach that front Hind. So I assume that means everybody can. Now, the Gepards, on the other hand, which are the AA, have a 28-inch range.
No, 28-inch against ground targets, I believe. They have got a 40-inch range against AA.
I see.
So dodging Gepards is just a waste of time unless you're playing on a really big table.
Yeah, so basically, pretty much anywhere on this table I could reach out and touch somebody.
Yep.
Okay, well, I tell you what. Let's actually go through a firing sequence here. So, where would you move your Hinds to on this table to get your best chance of killing something?
It's not about the Hinds.
Not about the Hinds?
That's what these guys are here for.
Okay, so I'm seeing some Carnations and a couple of BMP2s, yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
And the reason they're here is those things are going to make a mess of my Hinds.
Yeah.
So rather than giving them a chance to make a mess of my Hinds, I'm going to put a couple of 85 spirals, I think that's what they are, into them.
Okay,
if they
so
survive
these
that,
have
I'm
a
going to
couple of
shell
missiles
them.
on them?
Yeah.
Hang on, I see what you're doing. Okay, so if your Hinds fired right now, all of my A gets to open up before you get to shoot.
Yep.
However, if you shoot with your Carnations, which are back here, and your BMPs that are here, you're able to take those shots, thin me out a little bit, and then take your aircraft shot.
Yep.
Okay, well, let's...
Just one more thing. There's another reason for waiting as well. I've only got 4 shots with these guys.
Yeah.
They're very good shots, but I've only got 4 shots. But they've got a good range. Because they're coming in, they're not as long-ranged as the American stuff. They might be shooting back here, but by the time you get to do AA fire, they'll be here, and then the missiles will hit. But I've still got a good range.
Yeah.
And if I position them right, I can give myself choices. So in this case, for instance, if I don't get your AA with everything else, and I survive your AA, I'm probably going to shoot your AA, so that next turn, I don't have to worry about it. If I get your AA, I'm going to shoot your Leopards.
I see.
If my tanks get your Leopards, and my other things get your AA, I'll shoot the next thing. So these are your swing hitters at the end, pinch hitters at the end of something, I think is the phrase. Yeah.
Okay, well, I tell you what, let's actually fire, because BMP2s you have there.
Yep.
Let's see, well, I think there's your Carnations.
Yep.
And let's have a quick look here. You have a look through those, let's see if
it's in the other pile over there, but it's no problem.
But,
it's a spiral. I know the stats for a spiral, so no problem.
Okay.
Okay, so this guy's got a nice clean shot, and this one has as well. So I'm going to be hitting you on 4s.
Yeah, and I'm guessing enemy units don't block your line of sight, because you don't mind if you miss and hit them.
Yeah, I'll just fire another one and go for the one I really wanted.
Yeah, okay.
6 and 3, that's 1 hit on your 4 to hit.
Yeah, because my Gepards are a 4+ to hit, so they're reasonably sneaky. So
the hit has to go on that one because it's the one I nominated.
Yep, so this guy right here is taking the first hit. This is quite nasty, because now if this dies, I've lost half of my AA. So my front armor is
3.
3.
Against a missile, that's meaningless. So don't worry about your save.
roll your firepower, see if it goes boom.
And boom. That's 1 Gepard down.
So the Gepard, generally whenever you're playing this, just drop your turret off to the side, and that just shows that tank is now dead and gone. I know some people actually do little extra bits to actually put, flames and stuff, as if the turret is exploded and flown through
so
there.
Pretty. It's all good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have a friend. He actually makes them just as a bit of a hobby of his own. And what he does is, the little tea lights you get with the little flickering LED in it. You get one of those, get the circuitry, and then he'll build his smoke cloud on top. Yeah. So then he turns it on, sticks it in the hole, and then it's just, you have the fire running.
Right.
It looks really cool. I'll see if I can lay my hands on them at some point to show off to everybody. Okay, so that's 1 down.
Then we're going to fire a bombardment.
Okay, so I'm going to have to
reach over and grab a template.
Break the 4th wall, and from nowhere, a template. So, if you're firing a template, this edge needs to go towards your Carnations. So I assume it's like this.
Yep, and bonus, I get a couple of Leopards as well. But
yeah,
what I'm really after is the
and the Gepard.
So ranging in.
Yeah. No, first 2 range in with artillery. How do we do that?
3 attempts on my skill. My skill's 5. If I had my OP in a useful place, and using that, it'd be 4s.
OP?
Observation post.
Okay.
Always worthwhile buying with your artillery. But at the moment, I don't have an OP, so I'm looking for 5s. First attempt.
2. No.
So if I'd passed that, no penalty.
Yeah.
Second attempt.
Failed
nope.
that.
So that would have given me a +1 to hit. Come on. But that would have given me a +2 to hit.
Yeah, but because it's just a little tactical scenario, let's say you made it on, let's say, the 2nd attempt. So you've got that +1 to hit.
Yep.
Okay?
So your Gepard is a
my Gepard's
4.
Here. Okay, it's a 4.
+1 for that.
Yep.
And
I'm out of line of sight, I think.
You're concealed, but you must be, well, the target is in line of sight, but yes, your Gepard's going to be out of line of sight. So it's being caught in the bombardment, but I don't really know where it is.
Yeah.
So that's going to be another +1. So it's going to be a 6 to hit that one.
Okay, well, let's
try for some luck.
No.
Oh, exact opposite.
The dice gods have said no.
Okay, and 2 leopards.
I assume they're on 5s.
Yep, so we
that's
scored
one of them.
because I can see them. So 1 hit on a leopard.
Okay, front armor of a leopard 2 is 18.
Top armor.
Oh, top armor.
Yes, I'm firing a bombardment.
Oh, top armor of 2. That's not
Okay, but
quite
my
so good.
anti-tank's only 4.
So I need a 3+ to save it. No.
2. That's equal. So that means I could bail it out. And my firepower is 3+.
And
4.
Done it.
So that's a free bonus. I managed to
Bail one out, yeah.
bail out a leopard.
Okay, so we've got this leopard now bailed out. Now, my problem here is the same problem that I always see whenever anyone takes small units of anything, is that I now no longer have 2 operational vehicles in both
But
of
you can
them.
actually spread them out quite remarkably far. 6 inches is quite a distance when you measure it.
Oh, so I can count my commander in that?
No, that was the other tank in the platoon.
All right, so
And carefully positioned that if you measure it right across that way.
just about, I'm going to say just about.
Okay, so I did get it slightly wrong. There you are.
But see, that's one of the things I'm noticing about Team Yankee is, you know, if you're slightly out, you sort of give it to your opponent because you would have had the movement to do it. And
Yeah, and you can pre-measure, and if you're, it's a disagreement. I thought I was in. You measure it. I'm
if it's
that much out. It's like
if it's a full centimeter out, I'm not going to give it to you. But if it's maybe up to like 5-6 mil, it's not really a big issue.
Yeah, I mean, I could have done it. I thought I was doing it, so why not?
Yeah.
So okay, that platoon's fine.
However, my Gepard platoon is not.
But
so I have to roll their morale. I believe.
Not until the end of the shooting step.
Yes.
So
okay.
unfortunately, it doesn't save me quite yet.
Yes.
But I have halved the amount of fire coming into my Hinds, and then I'm going to finish the job.
Well, you see, this is something I'm going to argue with you about here, because right now, I would look at it and say, I know that Gepard's going to need to take a test. I know it still has a reasonable amount of firepower. I'm going to hold fire for this turn and let it take its test.
Yep, and
sometimes it might be
German,
not
it's going to 3+.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good. But what do you gain by holding? Against aircraft? Nothing, because the aircraft are going to disappear at the end of the turn. Against my helicopters, the thing you could gain is you remain gone to ground. You may survive my missiles.
Yeah.
And that may be a very good idea, because now my missiles will be hitting on 6s instead of 4s.
I see.
5s, sorry,
Yeah.
if you're concealed. On the other hand, you're not concealed from here.
No.
So you're gone to ground's not going to matter, so you may as well take that shot.
Yep. No, that's fair enough. You know, but what I'm saying is I would maybe hold fire with the Hinds. Then I'm thinking,
oh, right, yeah.
Yes, because then that forces this Gepard to take that test and possibly, you know.
Well, my plan was 2 Hinds into the Gepard and 2 Hinds into a Leopard.
So 2 to here and 2 to here. Okay.
It's not as certain as 4 into 1, but 50-50 chance each hit. 2 shots, I should get the Gepard.
Okay.
And if I don't, there's still a 1 in 3 chance it'll run away.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like,
just add a bit of insurance.
Yeah.
And 2 free shots into a Leopard just in case.
All right. Well, as it stands, I'm getting 5 shots with the Gepard at you. So what is the to hit on a Hind?
That's 3, and so there's no cover at this end because I'm flying and not a hunter killer, and you go clear shot at your end.
Yeah. So it's a big easy target, and this kind of sucks for you because I've now hit 3 of them, and you now need to make a 4-up save.
Big, ugly, easy target, but it's tough. A 4+ save. No problem. Well, actually, a bit of a problem.
Yeah. But the thing with AA stuff is it's only on a 4-up now that my firepower goes off. So it's not like I'm firing an anti-tank sable round at you. You know. So let's see. 4-ups. I got 1.
And look, it's convenient. It's already marked that way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, it's one of those things I'm thinking is that you should expect to lose some stuff in this game. Don't be scared to actually put stuff in harm's way, because if you're constantly hanging back, your opponent's just going to be able to outmaneuver you and pick you off at his leisure. Yeah. So you still have 3 shots. Would you have had to declare what your targets were before my anti-air fire?
Nope. I declared I'm about to shoot. You decided you're going to shoot at me. So you preempt my shooting. Now it's my shooting.
Yeah, and now you can decide if
I'm still going to put 2 into the Gepard.
Yeah, you see, that's what I was wondering, because if you had to declare it before, I could have maybe allocated my hits to the ones that are shooting the Gepard.
Yeah, and then I'd do a mistaken target to move them off, and it just adds some unnecessary complexity.
Exactly, but we don't have that. So you declare you're going to shoot.
Yep.
I fire my AA, then you pick your target.
Yep.
Cool. Okay, so 4-ups.
4-ups, indeed. No cover.
Ah!
The Gepard takes 2 missiles.
Damn. I'll assume you're directly on the firepower because it'll probably
Again,
be top
3 is
armor.
not going to stop a 23.
Right. So this time it's on my front armor.
Yep.
Okay. So
Yep.
it was
I
one thing I
could've-
was wondering, because you're firing from height, would it hit the top armor?
The thing is, I mean, my Hinds, not quite where they are literally on the table, but certainly ground skimming.
Yeah. So they're
so-
not at high altitude firing down the way as an artillery barrage would have came
Yeah.
in. So it is low enough to actually strike that front armor.
Yeah.
Okay, that's something important to be very clear on.
Yep. Even the aircraft are flying so low that
So nap of
the
the earth.
rounds may hit the top armor, but it's actually effectively as thick at that point because they'll just
Yeah.
bounce off.
Okay. All right. So 2 firepower tests on the Gepard. It's
Oh, lucky I hit twice.
yeah, but does mean my Gepard is now gone, and next turn you're going to be able to just
That's
to
an
have me.
important part of Hind tactics. Kill the AA.
Yep.
Sure. I mean, we didn't actually bother rolling for them, but your machine guns, I'm not worried about them. You might get a
Well,
lucky shot.
I have 2 shots with the machine gun.
Yep.
So let's actually see. So it's a 3 to hit. Yeah.
Yep. 2 hits. Don't particularly care because I've got 4+ saves.
And
I
you make
passed both
both.
of them. But even though I hadn't, you're still rolling a 6.
Yeah. Yeah. So even if I had got 1,
Yeah.
it would be trying for a 6. Oh, 5.
Yeah. So, yep, I try and dodge it if I can, but it's not really too much of a worry. Americans with their 50 cals, that's a little bit more scary because they've got 5+ firepower, doubles their chance, and slightly longer range.
Well,
You want to
still have-
dodge them, but you don't want to get too fussed about them. You will lose aircraft to them eventually,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
as you
Well,
say, you've got to
It's
break
something-
eggs to make
expect
omelets.
losses. Right.
Yeah.
So you have 1 shot left against this leopard. Let's see if you can get him. So you've hit him.
Yep,
This time I have a decent front armor of 18. So what's your anti-tank?
23.
23. So 5 to bail, 6 to be safe. 6, he's safe.
And I don't mind so much.
Yeah,
My
because
turn's
now,
objective
next turn-
has been achieved.
Yeah.
Now your AA's down. I've got 3 Hinds. Yep, you'll be shooting missiles at them. You'll be shooting machine guns at them and things like that.
Well,
But-
that's the thing now. Because it's 16-inch range on those machine guns, and your missile range, I think, is longer than that.
Yep, 20 inches. So
Yeah, so basically you're able to pre-measure. So the next turn, whenever you're using your unlimited movement, you can actually say, okay, can you measure me, 16 away from that? So
I'll just sit
I'll just
back
sit
at
an
it.
inch behind your firing line, and now I'm just going to pick you off for the rest of the game.
Yep.
So I can't see why target priority like that for the Hind and other aircraft is going to be really important.
Yeah.
Having your ground forces soften stuff up before the aircraft go, definitely something that needs to be considered by every single player out there.
And quantity. Even with all of that, I still lost 1.
Yeah.
But having 4 means it's
Not so
acceptable losses.
Yes, it's basically, well, don't worry, we have more reserves.
Yep, plenty more where that came from.
Yeah. All right, well, I'll tell you what, guys. Myself and Phil are going to move along to backstage here. And Phil, can you quickly tell us, what are we going to be chatting about in backstage this week?
How to prevent this from happening.
Okay, so we have our tactic. We're seeing the Hinds being really nasty. We're seeing good usage of aircraft and ground forces working in support. In the backstage, we're going to see how you break that. So, guys, come across to beastofwar.com. We have a 1-week free trial for backstage if you're curious. Come along and join us. We will see you there.
Figured, hey, look, drive it up and blow the out of it.
That building mildly offends me. Delete it.
Yes. Sure, you can spend hours bombarding it with artillery, or you can just drive up half a dozen guns and flatten it.
Yeah. It's why during World War II we actually saw some of the stupidly high caliber stuff. I remember seeing a Churchill essentially fired what was a dustbin at a building, and it was just like, let's re-landscape this skyline slightly.
And the Russians would even roll up 8-inch guns.
Fight for the Iron Kingdoms as a warcaster. Take control of the mighty jacks, arcane devices, and dark sorceries to bring the fight to the War Machine Hub on beastofwar.com. Venture into the dangerous dungeons of myth as a mighty hero and stand against the darkness. Visit the Myth Hub on beastofwar.com and begin your story.